Welcome to the Uplifters podcast. I'm Aranza Savas. If you're new here, this is the place where we talk to inspiring, courageous women in the second half of life who are doing bold, brave things and who are generous enough to pull back the curtain and share what that really looks like, the hard parts and what makes it easier so that we can all learn and grow together. This month, in the spirit of February, we've been exploring love in all its forms. We've talked about mother love, self love, the deep and underrated magic of later life friendship. And today we're closing out the series with romantic love, specifically the complicated, courageous, and surprisingly hopeful adventure of looking for love in midlife. Here's what the data tells us. More than 30% of Americans over 50 are single. So that's like 37 million people. And while 2/3 of those people say they're not actively looking, for those who are, the news is actually pretty good. A 2023 online dating survey found that singles between 43 and 58 reported the most success with online dating of any age group, with 72% saying their efforts led to a real romantic relationship. So maybe love in the second half of life isn't a consolation prize. Maybe it's just the place where we finally know enough to get it right. Which brings me to my guest today. Alyssa Dineen is a published author, a dating coach, and the founder of Style My Profile, which is a transformative coaching practice she built to help online daters feel more confident and empowered as they navigate the modern dating world. Alyssa came to this work through her own experience, leaving an 18-year marriage in her early 40s, rediscovering herself through the dating process, and eventually finding her partner on Tinder after 4 dates and a lot of patience, especially on his part. I met Alyssa at a party where neither one of us knew anyone. We both wanted to leave early, but somehow we walked out with a new friend and a guest I've been so excited to introduce you to. She is warm, she is wise, she is practical, and she's helped so many people find love at every age, including a woman who met the love of her life and got married at 84. So for every woman who's ever thought it's too late for me, it's not. Let's get into it. Alyssa, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. And I was so happy to meet you that night. Not just because we were both totally alone, but now I feel like it's going to continue on and we have a friendship now, which is amazing.
It's so great. And for all of you who are coming to Uplifters Live, you'll get to meet Alyssa in person there. So
Yes, yeah, for sure.
this is just like the teaser.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I'm happy to be here.
Take us back to your love story.
So I was married to my ex-husband for about 18 years. We were together, and it was slowly deteriorating relationship where it was very oppressive, and there were many times when I look back and I think, I should have left sooner, all of those things. But of course, I just wasn't ready. But I finally did it in my early 40s, and it was scary, but I moved out on my own, and couldn't believe the weight that was lifted off of me. I really felt like a new person, but also kind of a new person that didn't really know themselves yet. I was light and I felt so free, which was amazing. But I just really didn't know who I was anymore. I really adapted myself to what he wanted me to be, which in hindsight sounds so crazy, but I know a lot of people do, more people than you'd think do that.
Of course. But we talk all the time on this show about the fact that we are the sum total of the people we spend time with. And that can
Yeah,
work for us or against us. And I think you're just
right.
sharing an example of where that can really work against us.
Exactly. That's so true. So when I was on my own and newly single, and I had two young daughters at the time, now they're older, but I really wanted to get out there and date. And really because I wasn't just, oh, I want to get into a new relationship. It was really, I just want to meet new people and have fun. I was just like, I'm free and I'm just going to live my life right now for a while. And I did see myself eventually wanting to meet a new partner. But at the time, it was really just an exploration. I really just rediscovered who I was through dating. And I know that sounds really strange, but with each new person, you're meeting a stranger and you're kind of reflected back to yourself through this other person, first in how you describe yourself and what you decide to tell them and not tell them. And it was really with each person I dated, I was really telling my story and realizing I had so much more to offer than I was led to believe during my marriage. And it really just was such a, not just a confidence booster, but really just everything like self discovery and self esteem and all of those important things. And I really found that through dating, which I think a lot of people who have not had a good dating experience are like, what the hell are you talking about? But I think it was the attitude I went into it with, like I wasn't attached to the outcome, which I think is really important when you're newly dating. And I really truly just wanted to meet new people and meet myself again. So I did that and I online dated, I did the whole thing. I was on, Tinder and Bumble and all the things. And I eventually, after over 2 years, met my now partner. We met on Tinder, and which everybody laughs about. At the time, it was a little more relationship focused. Now it's kind of back to being the hookup app. But anyway, we met on there, and we it wasn't an immediate fireworks type of thing. We really got to know each other, and it was after date 4, which was, kind of a lot of people give up if there's no chemistry in this first or second dates. But we were on date 4, and that's when it really clicked. We got to know each other just a little bit better, and it was such a wonderful. It was just a wonderful experience meeting someone and really getting to know them, and then realizing once I got to know him better how much I really liked him and how much we had in common. So we were basically from then on together, and we've been together almost 9 years, which is crazy. But when we first started dating, I was a stylist, a fashion stylist for many, many years, decades, and he was saying we were talking, lamenting how when you go online, there's a lot of people's profiles who could really use some help. And he was saying you should go back online and find people to style for their profile. So many people could use
So
this.
smart.
So that was kind of how the idea was born, but it eventually evolved. And it's so much more than just styling someone's profile at this point. It really is just helping people with mindset and their approach to dating and honestly strategy, because the dating apps can be pretty rough. So just having a strategy behind you is so helpful. And now I've been able to help so many other divorced people who were in my position and my partner's position, where you really don't know what you're doing and you're kind of self-taught because there was no class to how to learn
Right.
how to online date. You're kind of thrown to the wolves and figure it out. But now I really like to help people and hold their hand so they're not feeling as confused and lost, and kind of avoid that learning curve period.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
love
now
that.
yeah, now people have met their loves of their lives, and which I love. It's just so rewarding. So yeah, that's how this all
Amazing.
started.
Amazing. This idea of finding yourself through dating is really powerful. For me, I've been with my husband now for well over 20 years. I think I really learned to love myself through his love of me, to see
Yes,
myself through a more loving eye, which has been so powerful and like the greatest gift of my life, truly.
that is truly a gift.
But
Yeah.
I learned to hide myself through my career. So my
Mm.
career, in some ways, the ending of it was really like my bad marriage story,
Mm-hmm,
because I'd
mm-hmm.
been in the same company for 18 years. It was a great, fabulous love affair for a very long time. And then the last few years, I felt like I was told to go and hide in a corner and be quiet and not make any noise so that I wouldn't be seen and erased.
Wow. Wow.
And it was really damaging, and it took me a long time. And I think the podcast has been a huge part of that, to sort of date my way through, like, whether it's my consulting, my coaching, my podcasting, this entire career that I've built since my corporate career has been so much of what you said you received through dating. And so I was just fascinated by the parallels in
Yeah.
that as I listened to it.
Right. That is a really interesting parallel, but I never thought about that.
So, my observation of dating and frankly looking for jobs is
Mhm.
that we we want to be seen for our gifts and our offerings by others. And so
Mhm.
that expectation creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of pressure on both sides. It creates a lot of dishonesty and
Mm-hmm.
preening, and all of that builds walls and barriers to connection. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think
Mm-hmm.
the kind of fundamental shift that I hear in what you're saying, what if we go into relationship building, friends,
Yeah.
anything with that intention of, I'm just trying to be the truest version of me. So I'm curious what that has meant in your dating work and how
Mm-hmm.
that shifted how people show up in the search process.
This word is so overused at this point, but being authentic in your
Mhm.
profile and in your first dates and really trying to be yourself is so important. It's actually unbelievable how many people pretend to be something else just to get people to like them. I see it happening in real time, more women than men, but I see it happen with men too, where they want to present themselves in this, very bland way, or they don't want to, if I say that, won't it seem like maybe I'm this way? And what I have to try to coach people on is yes, you want to
Yeah.
seem that way because that is who you are. And you want to repel the people that don't appreciate that in you. I didn't think that way either. And I really, once I stepped back from it and once I started working with more and more clients, I realized how important it is because you don't want to attract everybody. You do want to stay true
Mhm.
to yourself. And I think that's really hard for people. I think people want to just attract as many people as possible, and especially with online
Mhm.
dating, and then weed
Mhm.
out from there. But actually, you want to have that cut, basically repel people, as I said. Yeah, you want to be as authentic as you possibly can. And again, authenticity has become overused, but in this situation, it really is just the word that works.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't want somebody who doesn't stand for something because we know that we all stand for something. And then it just feels like this person's hiding and lying.
right,
And so we don't trust them.
right, right. 100%. Yeah.
So let's talk about the fourth date. So there is a lot of research I know that to show that we come into dating with an expectation of instant knowing that our instincts will tell us in the moment. I think probably more harm has been done by West Side Story than we know.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The West Side Story image of like across a crowded room, we see one another. And
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you and I sort of did that, but that's beside the point.
With friendships, it's different.
Exactly. But let how do you help people reconcile that need to let down some walls, to get curious,
Mm.
and to create enough connection that there can be trust?
You mean when you're first meeting someone? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard. It is so hard because
Because we're like
people have been.
faking it when we first meet somebody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we all do it. I mean, of course, you're presenting a version of you that's going to be pleasant and likable. And of course, that's just human nature. But I love this question so much because so many people are looking for that immediate connection across you lock eyes, the chemistry, the spark, the fantasy of Disney movies ruined us all too.
For sure. For sure. I
Yeah.
just went with the old lady version of the example.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, and someone else I just talked to the other day was saying, I think we're all still looking for that feeling when we were 16 or 17, when it just all felt so amazing and sparks are flying and it's your first time being like that with somebody. We're all still looking for that. That doesn't exist in your movies anymore. I'm sorry. I mean, it will develop to that, but it's not going to happen in the first date or two, or when you first meet. Usually it's we met, I liked the person, there wasn't any crazy chemistry, but we got to know each other. So whether that's 2 dates, 3 dates, 4 dates, 5 dates, and 6 dates, no joke, where most people would give up by then. I don't feel the chemistry, so I'm done. The way to gauge is like, do I want to be friends with this person? Would I still want to be
Mm,
friends with them? And if the answer is yes, then you keep going. And I've
mm.
seen the romance develop. And so it's because we're older and maybe it's we have walls up, maybe it's we've been burned, it could be a lot of reasons. Or maybe it's simply that we're really freaking shy and and our real
Mm,
true
mhm.
personality doesn't come out for several dates or several meetings. So I think that people give up too soon looking for that, chasing that looking across the room vibe. And it's unfortunate because I mean that's a lot of what I teach is we call it the 4-date minimum. Because it's so I see it happen on a weekly basis, honestly, where
Wow.
people like give something a chance and then it blossoms.
Looking back over your first 4 dates with your partner, what really shifted?
His big joke with me is like, what happened? Why didn't you,
Because
why
was he
weren't you
already
wanting?
feeling it at date one?
Yeah, well, the first date, it was over coffee. So it was a little, it's pretty like just meet and greet. And then he asked me out for the second date. So he was definitely interested and I was interested, but that was it so far. We went out to dinner a week later. He was definitely feeling it at that point. I was still, there was something I really liked about him and I trusted him. I felt safe with him and I loved that he wanted to know more about me. It was like very much we each asked each other so many questions and we were both curious. Going back to what you said earlier, curiosity is so important in dating and in friendships and in everything really. Just being curious about someone. That can be like the shift that changes everything. So we were genuinely curious about each other. And then on the third date, I kind of got into my head about, well, I'm just not sure. I'm not feeling that major chemistry yet, but I still liked him. I still enjoyed myself. He made me laugh. Again, I felt super secure. He's very, I don't know, even my daughters, whenever there's like a real issue, they call him before me. If it's something like
Oh,
an emergency, because they're like, Yoav knows how to fix everything.
oh,
He'll find a solution. And that is kind of the vibe he gives people. Like you feel like he's gonna take care of you, not in a misogynistic way, but I can help you. And so that was very appealing. But on the third date, he teases me now. He's like, "You didn't even want to kiss me goodnight." And I was like, "I wasn't sure." And then he asked me out on a fourth date. I really was on the fence, but I said yes. And it was just crazy how everything just clicked that date. And it was like I think he had let his veneer of politeness. He was more funny. I probably let down some of my guards too. That the combination of both of us feeling more comfortable around each other was just that was the recipe. So, and then it was like from then on, we both just knew that was it. There was no
wow.
question. So yeah, I mean, I tell people that story not to be like, that's how it should happen exactly. It's more just being open and hearing that this is a real experience. This can happen to you.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't just happen on no relationship happens in the same way. I'm just not looking for that rom-com ridiculousness. I love to watch a
Right.
rom-com, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it ruined us all.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And it ruins our expectations of what it takes to be curious and to get to know another person and to make a decision about a person and not an idea of a person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think a lot of that is rooted, to your point, in our histories, right? Like you had been in a relationship that created a lot of distrust.
Mm-hmm.
And so naturally, all that history is coming into your perception of other people. And so anything that feels like it might not be a fit is going to tell your brain, hey, this could be a signal that everything's wrong. Or, right, like we make a
Yeah.
bunch of assumptions. And that's our brain survival mechanism. Yay, brains. Thank you for keeping us alive.
Yeah.
And it can be a real barrier to growth.
Yes, 100%.
At what point do you tell people though, okay, yeah, that you ran the course, this person is just your friend or this person
Yeah.
is not for you?
Sometimes I do have to say that. Once in a while I'll have a client that will follow my advice. And again, this should when I hear a client say, "I heard your voice telling me I should go out with this person again." And I said yes, but ugh. And I'm like, "You shouldn't be feeling ugh.
Right.
You shouldn't be like another night with this person. You should be like excited to spend time with them as you would with going out with a friend. When you have
Yeah.
plans to go to dinner with a friend, you're excited to see them and you're excited to talk and catch up and whatever. It should still be a level of curiosity and excitement and wanting to get to know the person better. So I think that's just the shift. But so yeah, I've had to kind of call people out. I had one client actually, kudos to her. She was on date 9. She's like, I'm going again. And it was really funny. And they just, it was just not, there's no chemistry, but they kept saying yes to each other. And date 9, And she was like, I don't know, Alyssa, what should I call it? And I was like, yes, I think it's time to call it. She was really, really trying to make that happen. At some point, he's just a friend, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I one of the things I love about your stories again and again is we see the power of having a sounding board and the risk of not having a sounding board because it was really fortunate that you decided to go on that fourth date. Like
Yeah,
you and your daughters would have missed out on
I
if you
know.
hadn't just gone on that fourth date, but you didn't have Alyssa coach in your
I know.
brain. You
I
had
seriously,
Alyssa who'd been through a horrible divorce in your brain.
it really is sort of a miracle that I actually ended up going on that fourth date. In hindsight, I'm like, I don't even know why I really don't know why I did. It was kind of one of those things. And obviously, fate was, there's some other power at play. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm so thankful that I did. And I've seen other people, the same thing happen to them. One of my other coaches on my team, she had a very similar situation. And they just got married last summer, but it took her 5 dates. She was like, I just don't know. He's just so nice. I think he's too nice. And she kept saying that. And I was like, but you like being around him, right? And she was like, yeah, yeah, I do. I really do. I really enjoy his company. He's so nice. I mean, like we laugh. It's very comfortable. He's just so nice. And I'm like, I think you're just used to dating the bad boys. And she didn't really see it that way. Obviously, now in hindsight, she totally sees it. She's like, yeah, I was going for like the musician who traveled all the time and blew me off and never texted me. And here was this guy that was nice. We joke around about it now. It's like her thing was that he was too nice. And now
Yeah.
she's like, he's so nice. I'm so lucky.
Okay, let's talk about that because again, from a habit science and brain science perspective, she was responding to the neural pathways in her brain that said you loved a guy once who was a bad boy guitar player and ignored you and made you feel like crap about yourself, but also really energized and excited you. That is what love is. And so that pattern was developed in her brain. And it's really hard for us to reprogram that. And I don't think her story is at all unusual
Not at all.
because
No.
so many of us are taught that like love should be pain and hurt
And
I
exciting
and exciting.
and
I'm married to a
mysterious.
really nice grown up man. I am not married to a man child. He's not a dude, but he's a man.
Right.
And I
Yep.
really like being married to a grown up, nice man.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. But that's not what we were taught to love as little kids where we
Not
were
at
learning
all. I
like
mean,
these ideas.
you were you had some kind of foresight or something because I feel like not many of us did
It
at
was
that
very
age.
lucky, honestly. I don't know what
You said
happened.
that to me actually the night we
Yeah,
met. You're like, I'm just lucky.
I
And I'm like, I don't
really
know.
freaking
But you
lucky.
obviously
Maybe this is my
obviously
last life and all my other lives informed me.
right, right. Maybe it is. I like
I
that.
like it.
Let's talk about past lives now.
Exactly. On this episode.
No, but I love that because not many people I know went for the grown-up guy
No,
in our 20s.
no.
Hell no. I mean, we're all chasing after I mean, I married the artist who was like brooding and, I mean,
It's
God.
exhausting.
I mean, I literally brought that on myself. I mean, I just,
I
in
mean,
hindsight.
and I get why you did it. And that sounds
Yeah,
exhausting.
and it formed who I am. I wouldn't have my amazing daughters. I'm, very lucky. But no, but we weren't all going for that mature, real person. We just weren't. We were going for the mysterious guy who blew you off and then surfaced again and was like, and then you felt so like that excitement all over again and the anxiety and the butterflies and oh my God. I mean, I think we're all I think that's the thing is I see people still doing it at our age, like in
Hmm.
their, 50s, even 60s. My clients, I have clients in their 60s and 70s even, and I see it happen with them too. It's like I think you're still attached to that idea that like falling in love there should be mystery and chase and insecurity, and that's not
I'm
how it
getting
should
sick to
be.
my stomach.
I know. You're like, it's making me
Like,
nervous
oh,
just thinking about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Talk about butterflies, not the good kind.
Yeah. No,
So
I
how
think
do
I
you
think
help
I
people get
think
out of that?
Well, and I think the butterflies are not necessarily a good thing. I think it's
Agree.
just, it could be just a form of anxiety or like just that's like that excitement. When you're in a roller coaster, you can get butterflies. Like it's not necessarily a sign of the love of your life. And I think people get, it's really hard. The open-minded people really do hear me and they listen. And I really those are the people that meet somebody, honestly. But there's a lot of people that are really still stuck on, nope, I have to feel attracted to the person. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Of
Yeah.
course you should feel attracted to the person, but that might not be on the first or second date. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I didn't find Yoav attractive. I did. It was just that I didn't think he was the right person for me. But I thought he was attractive. I thought he was smart. I thought he was funny, which is why I kept going out with him. But I think people are like, don't tell me to settle. No, I'm not going to
Mm,
settle. That is definitely not at all what I want you to do. There should be a sexual chemistry, of course, but that might not happen on the first or second date.
yeah. I'm going to take it back to a work analogy, which
Yeah.
is like you get offered a high salary, right? But everything about the rest of the job feels hard or not, right? Like, and so I think that one thing that was so alluring that it feels like the promise. And so you say, and really then you're going to be miserable, but you're going to get paid. And I
Mm-hmm.
think sexual attraction is kind of
Mm-hmm.
like that
Mm-hmm.
because our human brains are wired for pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And so in both instances, there was a survival instinct literally kicking in that is out of sync with our modern world and our modern needs, and certainly our midlife woman needs, who has so many options for meeting all of our needs. And maybe we just kind of go back to something that's a little bit primal in that response. It's out of
Mm-hmm.
date for today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's a great analogy with the dream job or on the surface dream job, amazing salary, title maybe, whatever it is.
Sexy.
And that's, yeah, super sexy. And I mean, we all do. Listen, when I first got online, I would swipe right on like the hot guy with you could tell he was like super successful and he was 6'1" or whatever, all those things. And that literally the rest of humanity is also swiping right on, by the way,
Mhm.
just to preface it with that. But then even if we did end up meeting for some reason, I mean, I was like one of like probably hundreds of women that he was probably had access to. And it's like, it's just interesting that you want that shiny, sexy. And what I tell my clients is the problem with that shiny, sexy person, not just that it's all of New York City wants to date them, but also you're going to. You're going to give them more leeway than you would another person. It's amazing how much
Huh.
all of your boundaries that you're so rigid on, if they're hot, you let a lot of those go. It's because you have the fantasy
Whatever. He's pretty
version.
rude and doesn't very
Yeah.
make me
Yeah.
feel like a good person.
Yeah. Like I kind of feel like shit every time I go home after we go
But he's
out, but
hot.
he's hot.
Wow.
And yeah. So I mean I see that happen a lot too. So it really is something that's you have to really check in with yourself on something like that as you would with a job. How does this actually really make me feel? Do I go home feeling insecure and shitty about myself and wondering when I'm going to hear from him next? Or do I go home feeling, wow, that was such a nice evening and I'm going to sleep soundly because I feel good?
Yeah.
Just
How do
checking
you
in with
sleep?
yourself.
Maybe there's a measure. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. So,
So, going back to sort of the predating aspect of this, for so many people who are beginning this journey later in life, swipe right is a foreign language, right? I
mhm,
met my husband, you met your first husband well before dating apps existed. I mean, I
yeah,
guess there was match.com, but I mean, it's like swipe right, left, what? You're a stranger in a strange land. How
yeah.
do you help people feel more comfortable, more confident embracing these modern forms of
Yeah, yeah.
connection?
I mean, the technology is definitely a barrier. Especially like the older my clients get, the more kind of flustered they feel with it. Maybe they don't have a job where they work with computers even. So a lot of people really need a lot of hand-holding around just the
Mhm.
technology of it. So I get that. Technologically savvy, it can feel really overwhelming and just kind of, I don't know. I feel like it would be something that I would put off if I didn't feel like I would be
Mhm.
able to even
Yeah.
manage that part of it. So I really have to kind of hold their hand through. We even have a video tutorial that we just created so that we can just send it to people in case they're having a hard time, like with the technology aspects. But that is challenging. But that's part of why I do what I do, because I walk them through every step of, this is how you load a picture on there, this is how you use the app, this is how you swipe right, this is how you swipe left. So yeah, it's a lot of just even the logistics, explaining all of that. And a lot of people have never messaged or texted with a stranger. You're texting with a stranger, and that can be really challenging in its own way, not just because maybe you feel nervous. It's more that a lot of people don't know even how to have a text exchange if it's not someone they know well, or it's not their kid or their mom
What do
or
you
their
say?
best
What's
friend.
weird? What's too
Yeah.
much, too little? Yeah.
So
I
we
mean,
have,
honestly, I don't know how to text in my mom friend group. I like way overthink it and just don't say anything.
oh my
So
God, I do that
I can't even
too.
imagine if I were dating.
I know I do that too. It's funny. I mean, obviously if it's close friends, it's fine, but if it's like a more extended group of people, I do the same thing. I don't
I bet
respond.
it's not just me.
I think of something funny and I type it in, and then I'm
Mm,
like, oh, no, no,
mhm.
no. What if no one
I'll
gets
just
it?
leave
And
it.
it's going to be, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
So
think about when
material.
you're dating, you're like, yeah, it can be tricky, but that's why I really coach around. Okay, you message a little bit, like not much, and then you get on a phone call and see how that
Mm-hmm.
goes, or you try to make it an in-person date
Mm-hmm.
in a public place, all of those things. But just really not relying on the app. Like the app is not to get to know someone. The app is to find the person, you meet them, and then you have to meet in real life, because you can't get to know somebody over texting. It's just
Mm-hmm.
impossible. And I've experienced, and a lot of people I work with have experienced it. You message and message and message over like the course of a couple of weeks, because maybe you can't get together right away, and you create a fantasy version of this person, and they're never going to live up to that fantasy version. And it happened to me where I was messaging with someone, and he had been traveling, so he was going to be in New York in a few weeks, so we just kept texting. And he finally got back to New York, and we met. And I mean, he was nothing like I imagined. I mean, like, I was like,
Such an
did you have
interesting
somebody else
point.
text for you? He was not at all. I mean, he was very cold and aloof, and and in his texting, he was warm and seemed so caring and all of that. And in person, he was very, yeah, not that at all. So I learned my lesson. And these are the things that you
Makes so
learn
much sense.
as you go along. And that's why it's like, it's nice when you have a coach who can tell you, okay,
Mm-hmm.
don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Because I
Mm-hmm.
wasted 3 weeks of my life texting with this person. I think back to those types of things, and it's like, if someone had just told me that, yeah, that would have been
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. And I think we all need that in times of transition. We need people who've been there, people who have seen what works and what doesn't. And everybody's journey is going to be different, but why should we
Hmm.
start from zero? I
Yeah,
always think of
yeah,
like the analogy of learning to play piano. Like there are very few people who taught themselves how to play piano
yeah,
just
yes,
because they were like, what sounds sound good together? We've all learned from other people because there are keys that have meaning and they do
yeah.
different things. And so somebody teaches you what they're supposed to do. And then, yeah, plenty of people have found themselves virtuosos, but you have somebody teach you how to play the freaking piano first.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And also, back to your work analogy
yeah.
too, I compare it to that. It's like so many people hire a business coach. Of
Hmm.
course, why wouldn't I hire a business coach? And
Yeah.
the same amount of effort should go in, if you really want to meet someone, the same amount of effort should go into dating as it would to look for a job. Because both of those are your most important, aspects of your life, as far as like where you're spending the most of your time. So I think the amount of energy you put into finding a new job, you should put into dating. And then when you need a break, you take a break. But,
Yeah.
just that it should be, you're putting your all in. Because that's another really common mistake, is that people who, especially if you've been doing it for a while, you kind of half do it. You're like, oh yeah, I'm on the apps,
Hmm.
but they check it like once a month just for fun. You're bored. You can't do it that way. You really can't. You have to be consistent, for a month or two, and then take a break if you need to for a
Hmm.
couple of months or a week. But it's important to be consistently on there.
Yeah. And just like, frankly, going back to the piano analogy, you'd probably give
Yes.
up
Yes.
otherwise because there's too much rejection, too much uncertainty, too much cognitive load, frankly, to figure all of that out on your own.
Right.
And it multiplies the level of energy required and radically diminishes the rewards. And so we
Right.
don't do it. And that's why we need coaches for all sorts of things. But I think, especially in this domain, it makes so
Yeah.
much sense.
Yeah.
So, with that, and we may have just answered the question, what's the most important thing you want midlife women to know about finding love in the second half?
First of all, it is not too late. I hear
Mm,
this so many times. It does, I mean, I hear this from a woman who's 40, 45, 50, 60. So like everybody thinks, oh, I waited too long. It's too late. It is not too late. I have clients who have met the love of their life in their late 70s I had an 84-year-old woman meet the love of her life, and they got married. So it's not too late. And there are people out there for you. I mean, really, truly, I really believe that. And I think that if you go into it with the right mindset, curiosity is so important. Open-mindedness, not giving it the 4 date minimum, not looking for the flashy guy. We call it date vanilla, which doesn't mean date boring. It just means look for the profiles that give you information and aren't trying to be
mm,
like flashy or funny or I mean, if they're witty, great, but like if they're trying too hard, you can tell. So just the people that are really giving you true information about themselves, not giving you the list of what they want in a person.
mm,
That's another,
mhm.
you see that a lot in men. I'm looking for a woman who's da 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 da, and
Hiring
their laundry list. Yeah, exactly. I'm hiring. These are the qualities you need, qualifications. Yeah,
must be
don't
able to use
swipe left
this
on that.
technology.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's crazy. You see that a lot. It's like design a woman or something, you know? But no, but people are really sharing genuine information about themselves. Those are the people that you want to swipe right on. Those are the people you want to continue messaging with and see where it goes. And as long as they're showing up and being consistent, giving that a try, a chance, and not just going for the flashy hot guys. And not and again, not saying don't go for someone you're not attracted to, just they don't have to be flashy and you know the uber if they seem uber successful and sexy and flashy, you have to know that they know that they're presenting themselves that way, and then you know what I mean,
Yeah.
there's like something behind that.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking for the vanilla profiles and 4 date minimum and consistency, those are
Yeah.
like all
So
key.
good. So good.
Curiosity, honestly, if I could say one word,
Yeah.
and I loved that you said that at the very beginning. Curiosity is that can change everything for you.
I love that. Yeah. And that seems so much at the root of everything you're doing. So let's talk about you a little more. What's the next
Okay.
brave thing you want to do?
Oh gosh. Well, just started my own podcast a few
Tell
months
everybody
ago,
the name of it.
The Dating Lab,
Love it.
and it's on
So
all
good.
the things. But that's been a fun new journey. When you're running your own business, there's so many new things you have to learn. You have to learn marketing, you have to be a manager. There's so many different hats you wear.
Okay. Talk to us about self care. You put a lot into your clients and their success, into building a business, into running a podcast, into maintaining a relationship with your loved ones. How do you hold space for you?
Well, definitely yoga and Pilates. And then I love to take naps. I'm a napper.
Yeah.
It's funny, I used to in my
Normalize the nap.
normalize the nap, right? When I was in my previous marriage, I napping was like taboo. My ex thought that was like you were lazy, you were not getting enough done, all those things. So I got very anti-nap. And then with Yoav, he is a power napper. He loves to nap. And so I like realized like, oh, you can be really active and do your things and get shit done and then like sleep for an hour. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've become a napper, and
I love
it's
it.
been really nice. Yeah. So I
Well,
would
if you
say
were
those
to
are
talk
my
to any neuroscientist about brain health, they would tell you napping is awesome. Sleeping half the day, not so helpful, but
yeah,
a good nap, like every
right?
company should have a nap pod.
I know. I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. I think it's
we
so
need
helpful.
resets.
Yeah.
So, as uplifters, we love to uplift other uplifters. How can we support you and the work that you're doing?
Thank you. Well, you can find me on my website at stylemyprofile.nyc.com, and then also on Instagram at stylemyprofile.nyc. And then I'm also on TikTok, which is new for me, Style My Profile also. And yeah, just follow and hopefully like what I'm saying and yeah, like it. That would be
Yeah. And then
helpful.
share this with the people who
Who
are
are
looking for
dating.
love
Yeah.
and who are maybe feeling a little bit frustrated and
And that's something I want to say
exhausted by the
too.
process.
Yes. And I want to validate that because I think it's so important. You are not alone in feeling like dating sucks. Most
Yeah.
people do.
It's
And
hard.
especially, honestly, I'm not just saying this if you're not working with someone or have a good friend that can kind of guide you. It can be lonely. It is frustrating and it can feel hopeless, but I really do. I see people meeting there all the time still, so don't give up.
It was so nice to see you, Alyssa. I can't wait to see you again in person on March 13th. I'm
I know.
so
Thank
excited
you.
for you to meet all of our crew.
I
If you're
know.
listening
Same.
and you don't have your tickets, come join me and Alyssa and so many other amazing uplifters in this super intimate, beautiful room where we're going to talk about, yes, what's working, but also what's hard. And we're going to ask each other for support and ideas and encouragement and lift each other up so that we can all rise higher together. Have a great day, everybody. Big love.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the Uplifters podcast. If this inspired you, hit subscribe and tap the bell to stay uplifted. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs a little lift today. Big love.
Painted water sunshine with rosemary and thyme. Dwell in the perplexing, though you find it vexing. Toss a star and hover, be your own best lover. Relish in a new prime, plant a tree in springtime. Dance with idle hindsight, bring the sun to twilight.